Bernie Sanders is literally the most deeply honest human being I've ever met. He's honest when it cost him politically. He did not and would not say a woman cannot be president. He has said clearly today that he did not say it. He has said the opposite since I was a child. Those are the words of Shaun King.
Yeah. The sexist card is the one that they've tried before with Bernie over and over again. And so Liz sat down, Lying Liz, said, what's our best target? Where's he the most vulnerable? We got to turn it into a sexist charge.
Yeah, because Bernie's now leading in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Bernie's been leading in fundraising.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is just, we got to get at him. This is nothing but the centrist, corporate, conservative Democrats. I'm going to call them what they are. They are conservatives.
Well,
they're not liberals.
Yeah, if I'm not
ever.
mistaken, wasn't she a Republican how many years ago? 10 years ago? She was a Republican. She still is. Let's not be.
She might as well be.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm tired of seeing these people who were Republicans claim now they're progressive. Hillary, a progressive that started working for a conservatives campaign, I think it was Goldwater's.
When Bernie Sanders, there's video proof of this. Bernie Sanders in 1987 telling a group of school children, yes, boys and girls can grow up to become president. Yeah. What party was Elizabeth Warren a member of at that time in 1987? She was a Republican.
When you talk Bernie Sanders, you need to be able to go back in time to see a long, consistent legacy of a progressive. I don't care if it's when he's being arrested in the civil rights movement and he's in college. He looks like he's 16, 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's just, 20 years ago when he voted against the Iraq War.
Yeah.
There's no flaws because that's who he is. These other phonies have to patch up their past and say, yeah, I saw the light after being a Republican for 10 years. No, you took the most advantageous political route. And had nothing to do with conversion.
And yet Elizabeth Warren has the audacity to stand on that debate stage the other night and say, the only people up here who have not lost an election are the women. I'm going to say it plain as I can. Identity politics. I don't care if it's against gender, race, color, religion, whatever. Identity politics is going to kill this country deader than a doornail.
The identity politics that was the forte of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and the whole long line, we now have a candidate who's issue-orientated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like deaf people. Those issues mean nothing. They'll latch on to how you wear your clothes, your age, anything that's secondary to the issues. The issues affect us.
Oh, you mean like 4 years ago when former state representative Mary Valentine of the 91st District called me ageist and sexist. You know, I know what my crime was?
Who?
Supporting Bernie Sanders.
Mary Valentine.
Mary Valentine. She was a former state rep for the 91st District in Michigan, out of Muskegon.
I think I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. Called me ageist and sexist. Yeah.
See, they won't pick up the issue. They'll never miss you this. They grab some trite moniker and throw that out. And who's a master of that? Trump is.
Mm-hmm.
He puts one little pretext in front of a person's name, like Lion, what was Jeb? Lion Jeb or...
yeah,
exactly. Just one little...
Crazy Bernie.
Yeah, and that's all you can do.
Crooked Hillary.
Yeah. He hasn't got the mental gravity to pick up an issue and to go, point by point against Bernie. Nowhere close. It's impossible. So like a little child in the sandbags, you throw a little attack, a name calling, and that's all you need. And his lap-loving constituency and the Virginia rednecks down there, like the ones that have got the Capitol in hostage.
And we'll talk about that.
They love that. That's as deep as their thinking goes. You call Pelosi some name. Mm-hmm. You call Schumer some name. That's his rebuttal.
It is.
And they can't have anything more sophisticated.
Yeah. It pretty much is the case.
I saw him interview a couple of these Trumpers at a rally, and the interviewer says, well, Bernie ain't nothing but a socialist. He's just a socialist, and this country can't handle socialists. And the guy goes, do you have Social Security? Well, yeah, but that's different. They got nothing to do with it. The guy goes, what do you mean it's got nothing to do with it?
You know what?
It's a socialist program.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm in a Facebook group that's union members. I'm no longer a union member, but I have been in the past. I've been with the American Postal Workers Union. I grew up in a union family, as I've talked about on this show before. Mm-hmm. To hear the amount of supposed union members who call Bernie Sanders a socialist, yet don't understand that they are directly engaging in socialism as a member of a trade union. Yeah. Do they not? Do they?
Have they ever read a history of unionism in the United States?
There's such a disconnect, Jack, that I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't.
It's just unbelievable.
It's like when Snyder here in this state was elected, I don't know how many years ago, and I found out the MEA, 51% of MEA members, those are school teachers, voted for Snyder.
Yeah. I called out the Michigan Carpenters for endorsing that son of a bitch in 2010. Snyder.
Yeah.
They endorsed him. 2 years later, what do they get? Right to work. 2 years later, after they were promised, oh, no, Snyder won't sign right to work. Yeah. You really believe what a Republican says? Because every time they're open their mouth, a lie tumbles out of it.
I remember in history
and for that matter, the centrist conservative Democrats, too.
I remember my history teacher, I think 10th grade, talking about the Dark Ages. Mm-hmm. And the kids were saying, well, who was it? Who caused the Dark Ages? Now, he couldn't say the religions, okay?
Even though it was.
Couldn't say that. So I saw him, I can remember searching for words, and this is what he came up with. He said, really, it was the ignorant people battling against the enlightened people. Mm-hmm. And there were more ignorant people. So they buried the ideas and the thinking of the enlightened people. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're at today.
Yeah.
We're battling hordes of ignoramuses. We really are.
They're willing ignoramuses. They don't want to research anything. They believe what they're told.
That's what an ignoramus. They're too stupid to know they're stupid.
We tell everybody on the show, do your own research. Don't just listen to us and take everything we say as gospel. Do your own research. You'll find out we're right more than we're wrong. A lot more right than we're wrong.
And it's not an easy process.
No.
Noam Chomsky was reading 10, 11 newspapers when he was a teen, every day, and never stopped.
Yeah. The late Rick Beckett, who I miss to this very day, and I've patterned some of my radio life after him, used to read, I think he would read a dozen newspapers a day, 4 or 5 magazines a week, and a book a month.
Because if you do that, you take a topic like the so-called lie that Bernie, was accused of, and you get the Christian Science Monitor, and you get the New York Times, and you get this, and you get that, and you get back and forth, and you begin to see how strong it is, and you begin to see just what the truth is. You have to sift it back and forth and weigh it. You just don't take your phone and type in, what's the truth about Bernie Sanders? Oh, I got it. Mm-hmm. He lied. Okay, and you end it there. Yeah. It's a process, and you have to fight for the truth today.
Exactly. But we can help you find the truth. I got a couple of articles here. We're going to continue about Elizabeth Warren here. Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting published a story about the most recent debate on January 14th. You know who they declared the biggest loser from the debate?
Who's that?
Wasn't any of the candidates on stage. It was CNN's journalistic credibility.
Oh, yeah.
That is a direct quote from FAIR. Jim Narakis and Julie Holler writing for them. They say CNN debates have been marked by a tendency to pit one candidate against another, American Gladiator style. So it's no surprise that the cable network took its own journalistically dubious scoop about Bernie Sanders allegedly telling Elizabeth Warren in 2018 that he did not believe a woman could win a race against Donald Trump, and used it as the basis of questions to both Sanders and Warren at its pre-Iowa caucus debate in Des Moines, which was presented jointly with the Des Moines Register. So did you actually hear this? They asked Bernie, did you say that a woman couldn't be elected? No, I did not say that. So they go to Warren. Senator Warren, what was your response when Bernie said that women couldn't be elected? The crowd laughed because it was that obvious that it was a slanted question. You want to know why CNN is scared of Bernie Sanders? Because he has already said that he would scrap the Telecommunications Act of 1996. He would put ownership limits on radio and television stations and newspapers, and he'd break up all the corporate-owned media monopolies. That's what they're scared of.
And
this is why they lie about Bernie every single goddamn day.
Did you hear Mr. Gibson's last phrase? He will break up all of the corporate monopolies. That's what makes Bernie Sanders totally unique. There's nobody else close to that. I don't care how progressive they want you to think they are. And you know what? Let's go back to some of the questions that CNN absolutely exposed himself with as being a Bernie basher.
Actually, I'm going to read this. I've got this real quick before I let you continue. Matt Taibbi. We love Matt Taibbi here. Matt Taibbi is a second-generation journalist. His father was Mike Taibbi, who worked for NBC News for decades. Matt wrote this for Rolling Stone magazine. CNN debate moderator Abby Phillip asked Bernie Sanders in the Tuesday debate in Des Moines this, quote, CNN reported yesterday, and Senator Warren confirmed in a statement that in 2018, you told her you did not believe that a woman could win the election. Why did you say that? End of quote. Not did you say that, but why did you say that?
It's the same old thing. Do you beat your wife less or more?
Yeah. Do you beat your wife daily?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Well, if you answer no, well, how often do you beat her?
Yeah, there's no correct answer for that. But that wasn't the only trick question. I mean, they had a barrage of anti-Bernie questions, blatantly.
Yeah.
And they're saying CNN's reputation is tarnished? Are you kidding me? They've been at this for years.
Yeah, they actually report, and it goes further down. Matt Taibbi mentions Bernard Shaw in 1988 crotch-kicked Mike Dukakis with a question about whether he'd favored the death penalty for someone who raped and murdered his wife, Kitty. Of course, we now know that Bernard Shaw is nothing but a conservative Trumper, Fox propaganda channel, pablum puker.
Yeah,
sorry, Bernie. Not Bernie Sanders, Bernie Shaw.
Yeah, he was written. It was on a letterhead from.
Your brother was
Koch
a much
brothers.
better journalist, by the way.
Here's some questions that came out last night. Who will stand up for the insurance town in the 2020 election?
For the insurance town?
Yeah. Why should the government do things? I'm just giving you a list of them. Will Bernie Sanders bankrupt America? Who on stage will let Iran have a nuclear weapon? You know, just because. If these sound like terrible questions, you're right. They're awful.
Yeah. Where are you reading this from?
This is right out of the Huffington Post.
Yeah. Who's the author?
Zach Carter.
Okay.
If these sound like terrible questions, you're right. And they were the focus of CNN's tedious, interminable, frivolous debate on Tuesday night, a fiasco of irrelevance held 3 weeks before the Iowa caucuses. Again and again, CNN anchors substituted centrist talking points for questions, and then followed up predictable responses with further centrist talking points, rarely illuminating any substantive disagreements between the candidates or problems with their policy positions. Abby Phillip asked former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg if he would embrace President Donald Trump's vow to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. When Buttigieg said that, yes, in fact, he would block Iran from going nuclear, Phillip persisted. Mayor Buttigieg, to be clear, would you allow Iran to become a nuclear power, yes or no? Buttigieg acknowledged that no, he would not. If it isn't obvious, no presidential candidate is going to strut out on television and say, yes, I want to ensure that other countries get more nuclear weapons. None. In other words, they were feeding Mayor Pete softballs. Mm-hmm. They were speaking for him.
Of course.
And on the other side of it, they were giving Bernie such questions as we just listed. How does it feel to be a liar? Does it feel good to be a liar? Feel bad to be a liar? I'm more sickened by CNN than Fox. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm revulsed by Fox. But CNN is doing the corporate job of eliminating true progressivism in the Democratic Party. CNN, along with Fox, makes it impossible for a person to lay hold of the truth.
And MSNBC, too. We'll just lump them in.
And you better believe CNN knew the numbers out in Iowa, waiting in Des Moines, and they knew there's no way they wanted Bernie to come out of the gates